So here is the grid for our third and final DD2 heat, not just of this weekend, but also of the 2022 season. It's Ville Villainen and Mark Kimber on the front row. Peter Bezel and Martin van Leuven rounding out the top two rows. Leonardo Baccaglini and Philip Moitzi on row 3, with row 4 completed by Matthias Jette Jacobsen and Maxime Dirix. Row 5 completing the top 10, Ragnar Virus and Stan Pex, with Patrick Snolls Lockmelis and Jakob Bezel rounding out row 6. Lawrence Eifried and Tino Egeskov rounding out row 7 ahead of Charlie Anderson and Edward Matthews on row 8. Row 9, it's Hannes Water and Lucas Thompson, with Niklas Krenz and Florian Breitenbach rounding out the top 20. Completing the 33-strong grid, Philip Jepsen from Denmark, Germany's Finn Stiak, Denmark's Carl Borgaard, Canada's Lucas Pernod, Slovenia's Zenderua. I know his good wife Sarah is watching at home, being a bit of a couch potato, which she said on Instagram earlier. He starts 25th ahead of Manuel Tenchard, Ilias Kaliakmanis from Greece, Lithuania's Andrius Zinkevicius, Matis Malanovskis from Latvia, Hugo Schwarzer from Germany, Alessandro Glauser from Switzerland, Benjamin Unterberger from Austria, and Rasmus Vendelbo bringing up the rear of the field. But it has been a good drive from the Dane so far. He's made up multiple positions, got himself into the top 11 and also into the top 15 over the last 2 heats. So 10 minutes on the clock. Red lights ignited on the starting gantry for the penultimate heat of the 2022 Rotax Max Challenge Euro Trophy season. Thanks, Sarah, for the response on Instagram. That's the wonders of social media these days, folks. So the drivers ready themselves for another 10 minutes plus an additional lap. Into the tram lines we go, revs rise, lights are out. And we're underway. Who's going to get the run to turn 1 first? Looks to be Villainen. Kimber outside of everybody else, and he's gone very, very wide through turn 3. That's going to give him run of momentum, but he gets forced a little bit wide. And Van Leuven, I think, might have made the jump on everybody and gone up into the lead of the race. They make their way through into turn 6. It is Van Leuven, Villainen. Amongst others, we have got a yellow flag because someone has had a pirouette coming out of turn number 5, and that was the 488 of Tino Egeskov that has ended up at the back end of the field. So another turnaround, this time at one of the most precarious parts on the circuit. And it's the 461 that this time is 180 degrees the wrong way. That's Niklas Krenz from Germany. So Kaliakmanis, I understand, has started from the dummy grid. So I had to wait for everyone to get through and get past. But now, side-by-side Sodi carts. Well, that was very, very close indeed. That was between Philip Moitzi and Peter Bezel as they make their way through down into turn number 4. Look at the deluge of spray as the 32 strong grid making their way through turn number 3. And someone definitely went off track there, going through out of turn number 5 and towards turn 6, but managed to get it back onto the black stuff rather quickly. So Van Leuven leads from Villainen. The gap was 1.7 seconds. That might be expanding. But on the Finns' heels is Philip Moitzi and Peter Bezel. Ed Matthews all the way up to P5. So the man from Dan Holland Racing, normally mechanics for the likes of James Roberts over in the United Kingdom. As I think that might have been a change for position between Jette Jacobsen, possibly Baccaglini, or maybe even Stan Pex. Stan Pex is actually second in the SP Motorsport train, because it looks like they've got Patrick Snolls Lockmelis just sandwiched in between them. Van Leuven's cantered away into the distance. That's Lawrence Seyfried now up past Jette Jacobsen. That's for P8 on the road. Seyfried casually using the curves. Lucas Thompson. Oh, Kimber's had an absolute shocker. He's been passed by the German, and now the championship leader in 11th place. So there have been more twists and turns in today's racing, as Bezel now makes his way past Moitzi. So the reigning and defending champion now up into P3. Moitzi looking towards the outside through turn 11. That's going to open the door for Ed Matthews. And Ed Matthews gets a bit rambunctious coming out of turn 11 and now up into P4. Great drive by Ed in the wet. Now I'm going to have a look at exactly where he started. So 4.58, he started 16th and now is genuinely up into 4th position. And now he's got a chance at going against the reigning and defending champion. Side by side, 2x2, hurrah. A little bit further back down the order, the likes of Lucas Thompson possibly getting side by side with Lawrence Seyfried going through into turns 1 and 2. And as Matthews still has Moitzi for company. As they go through into turn number 6. More deluge of spray just behind. You've got Lochmelis. And Moitzi retakes the position, but Matthews gets to run through into turn 8. Onto the curbs. Moitzi keeps it pinned round the outside, and the Austrian remains ahead. Oh, and a touch. There was a little bit of a touch there from Lochmelis on Matthews. The DHR driver ending up having a little bit of a touch, which put him sideways. But still, to have a great run in these wet weather conditions. And he said to me, I've done plenty of senior Rotax driving in the wet, never in DD2. Well, now he's learning a lot, as he has, I think that was Stan Peck's up the inside, but he might have got the undercut. And he has got it, so Matthews still in 6th position, a little bit further back. Kimber is struggling. Lucas Thompson is past him, and now so is Jakob Bezel. Kimber goes on the offensive. Kimber now down into what will be 11th position. Matthews still trying to be steadfast and get past Moitzi. Goes very wide into the approach into turn number 6, but Stan Peck looks to have got the job done. And Leonardo Baccaglini is all the way down in 14th position. More importantly, behind him is Maxim Drix, the weekend winner back at Marienburg in the second weekend of July. Here comes Charlie Anderson up the inside of Mark Kimber through turn number 9. Kimber is losing positions hand over fist right now. And then he's got Drix just behind. I think Baccaglini has been passed. And that'll be by, Rasmus Vendelbo's at it again. From 33rd on the grid, we've got 2 retirements. Ilias Kaliakmanis, countryman to good old DJ Liveris. I should have sent him the stream link so he could have had a watch. Oh, there's a bit of a side-by-side action. And that is Vendelbo versus Drix. Drix pulls to the inside, takes the racing line, and the Dane gets through on the Belgian. They're side-by-side on the run down to turn number 4. Drix goes wide, high, wide, and handsome. And that allows Baccaglini to get through. And then Vendelbo gets past, of all people, Mark Kimber. Kimber goes for the switchback through into turn 6, takes the tighter racing line. Vendelbo hangs it round the outside and then on Drix, and then goes through on turn 7 on Kimber, who reasserts himself through turn number 8. Some great dueling and dicing in this third DD2 heat. But it's Martin van Leuven who's on course to put himself at the best foot forward, because he's in the lead at the moment. And his gap over Ville Villainen from Finland is now 3.6 seconds as we're about to complete lap 6 with just 3.5 minutes remaining on the clock. I think for Mark Kimber, it's more a case of just surviving to the end of the race and then just see what happens tomorrow. Because only the top 2 in the championship standings get the tickets to the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals at Portimao in November. 3 minutes 10 on the clock. Zen Drua making a move, and that was on Matis Malinovskis. Malinovskis gets back past. And then Drua goes side by side on the exit of turn number 4, just behind them. They've got Alessandro Glauser. I normally see him in DD2 Masters, but he fancied a challenge and got in with the DD2 crowd, and he started in 31st position. And he's taking a page out of Rasmus Vendelbo's book. Vendelbo now up into 14th. Lucas Thompson now in the top 10 as he's trying to challenge Jakob Bezel. Jakob Bezel took the 2019 title. 2020, it was Zana Schiblak and Peder's brother Peder's brother Jakob. Well, it was Jakob Bezel that took the title back in 2019, but his brother Peder took the win last year. Oh, Thompson side by side through turns 1 and 2, and the German gets sideways. Uses the apex curbing on turn 3 to slow the kart down. And now, has he got a run? We're going to try and attempt it through into turn number 5. Has to back out of it, lift off the throttle, apply a small amount of brake. Now tries to send it through turn 6. And is the over-under going to happen? Yes, it is. And there's a touch. And Thompson goes on to the dirt. And that allows Charlie Anderson, the Swede from KR Sport, to get through. So that was now, well, Thompson was battling for 8th. Now he's down to 10th. And there is Matthias Jeder Jakobsen. Kimber is battling away with Baccaglini. And that's Vendel. Is that is 447. That's Rasmus Vendelbo. And there is Leonardo Baccaglini. Oh, Kimber gets a great run out of turn number 11. Sprints to turn 12, blocks the door up the inside of Baccaglini, goes the Brit. And then the Dane, Vendelbo, tries to get through, but Baccaglini gets through on him, gets the launch out of the corner. The Vendelbo up the inside, Baccaglini trying to hang it around the outside. And the Italian won't make it through, and he loses significant ground in the process. This is an all-out dogfight here in DD2 this afternoon, folks. A little bit further back, a place lost by Alessandro Glauser to Niklas Kreins, so that will be for 19th place. But great work by Alessandro Glauser to make it up what was 12 positions. And I'll make that back to 11. And Philip Moitzi, there has been a development. Philip Moitzi has dropped all the way down to the back of the order. And he might be out of the running. So Moitzi had a good run in Heat 2, but Heat 1, it didn't work out for him. Well, Heat 1, he was actually DQ'd, but in Heat 2, he had a better run. There's your race leader with 11 seconds on the clock, Martin van Leeuwen from the Netherlands. Winner of Heat number 1. Kimber took the spoils in Heat 2, and Philip Moitzi is going to become the third retiree. We're down from 33 to 30 runners in this race. So Moitzi, a disaster for the Austrian. He's got to do all that hard work tomorrow. He's got a massive mountain to climb here in Bavaria. And now with the penultimate lap very much underway, Van Leeuwen is just a couple of corners away from taking the last lap board of the penultimate heat of the 2022 Euro Trophy season. And what a spirited drive. Rasmus Vendelbo, I hope he doesn't get a front fairing penalty, because that's his best effort yet. He's up into P12 from 33rd on the grid. 21 places gained by the Dane. And now the final lap is well and truly underway. Our race leader now making his way out of turn number 4 and into turn 5. So Van Leeuwen will put himself on a very, very good foot forward for tomorrow. But in Heat 2, he managed to finish in 9th place. But just a handful of corners remain. As our Rotax Max Challenge Euro Golden Trophy winner, who went on to win the Grand Finals in the sands and the heat of the Persian Gulf in Bahrain last December, here in the wet in Wackersdorf. He's just 2 corners away, over the crest, one more time. And now Van Leeuwen powers out of the final corner, and it's 2 for the Dutchman here in DD2. Second is going to be Willy Villainen, who is being closed in on by Peder Bezel, who got the gap down by over 6/10 of a second to just under 4/10 by the checkered, as the Czech Republic driver rounds out the top 3. Patrick Snolls Lokmelis in 4th, with Stan Pex representing the Netherlands completing the top 5. Edward Matthews from Great Britain, a spirited drive from the DHR driver, having started a considerable way down the field. So the 4.58 started 16th, finishes in 6th position. Lawrence Seifried from Germany. Jakob Bezel, the 2019 DD2 Euro Trophy champion, finishes in 8th ahead of Charlie Anderson from Sweden, who started in 15th, finished in 9th. And Lucas Thompson ended up rounding out the top 10 places representing Germany. Following that, it was Matthias Jette Jakobsen. Rasmus Vendelbo with another significant amount of positional gains. He goes 12th at the end of it. The championship leader, Mark Kimber, finds himself down at 13th. Leonardo Baccaglini and Estonia's Ragnar Veres. Maxim Dirix, Niklas Krein, Zenderua, Manuel Tanchet, Alessandro Glauser ran out the top 20. Great drive from the Swiss driver. Very much steeled in DD2 Masters, but fancied a challenge this weekend, and by golly has he got one. Matis Malinovskis, Karl Borgard, Lucas Pernod, Florian Breitenbach, Finn Stiak, Hugo Schwarzer, Tino Egeskov, Philip Jepsen, Andreas Sinkevicius, and Benjamin Unterberger ran out the 30 that finished all 11 laps. On lap 7, we lost Philip Moitzi. Hannes Border, we lost on lap 2, and Ilias Kaliakmanis, unfortunately, not making it past lap number 1. And for those wondering what is going on at the moment, they are actually taking pictures of the front fairings. I did see, so Lucas Thompson might have a... Lucas Thompson, oh, Rasmus Vendelbo's got a front fairing penalty as well, so there has been some taken. Oh, right, there's been quite a few being handed out. So that'll be Mark Kimber. I did see Lawrence Seifried having that as well. So 10 front fairing penalties in heat number 2 for DD2. So that's 23 combined front fairing penalties over the first 2 heats. So there could be quite a few coming in this heat here. And there are our drivers that will be going out for the 15th and final heat of today. It's the final race on the heat stages of the 2022 Rotax Max Challenge Euro Trophy. Up next, closing out the show today, will be DD2 Masters. And I have to doff my cap to every single one of them, because they decided to go out when it started to rain on slick tyres. We got a wonderful drifting display from quite a few of them. Even got a little pirouette in the process as well. But so far, in terms of the amount of races that have been, well, the racing that has transpired over the course of today, has been a pretty good one for Martinas Stankiewicz, taking pole position yesterday and also having won both heats. He won the second heat, which was done in wet weather conditions, with slick tyres by 19 seconds ahead of his closest competitor, who is the driver on the right-hand side for those watching on the screens at home, Dennis Thum, who leads the championship going into tomorrow with just 30 points advantage